Hello, and welcome to this LegalEx 2020 virtual session on shining the light on cybersecurity for law firms, on the black box of cybersecurity for law firms. Um, why is it a black box? I'll explain a little bit later. I'm sure since you're already listening to this webcast, and it's gonna be quite a long session, almost an hour, that you care about your client's privacy, about your client's security, about your client's data, which is stored in your law firm systems. And you wouldn't like it to be published online, or you wouldn't like your clients to be extorted for their data that you are holding, and you don't want to be responsible for such a breach. I'm sure you know some big names, some of the largest firms in the world. They were hacked. Some of them lost up to 30% of their clients due to a single cybersecurity incident which stopped their global operations. Now, this likely does not apply to you because you are most likely a smaller firm. You don't have 40 or 50 or more offices globally. But you have IT systems, and those IT systems are vulnerable. And especially now, when everyone is working from home, that becomes a real problem because people working from home are more relaxed. They're not inside the imaginary box that your internal network is, and especially if they're not connected to the firm's VPN, they might fall victim to a cybercrime much easier than inside your firm's premises. What do you do about that? I'm going to speak about that a bit later. About me, um, I'm a cybersecurity expert. I wrote 2 books on cybersecurity. My whole life has been focused on cybersecurity. Uh, I've been a speaker at the largest cybersecurity conferences in Russia in front of thousands of people. And I wrote 2 books. One of them is about protecting law firms. I've worked at Microsoft, Hewlett Packard, and I've traveled the world helping companies protect themselves. That's why you can listen to me, because I've been protecting law firms globally, in the US, in the UK, in Australia, everywhere. And I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly about law firms trying to protect their clients' data, being breached, responding to breaches, and I've built defenses for them. And I can teach you how to build defenses for yourself in this short presentation. For some of you, about an hour will be long. For some of you, it might be short. I'm going to assure you that this presentation, this session, is going to give you the right insight and the right action items to act upon even during this session that are going to guaranteed protect your firm much better than it is protected now. Let's move on. At the end of this presentation, you are gonna get a free copy in a digital format of my book, Protecting Law Firms from Hacking Attacks and Insider Threats. Now, IT is a black box for you. It's a black box for most legal professionals, and cybersecurity is an even smaller black box. You don't have to know what is inside the black box of IT, and you don't have to know what's inside the smaller box of cybersecurity. But you have to know that if your IT department is managing IT security for you, as you will see in my book, it is a huge problem. Why? Because imagine a country's management, right? In a country, you have construction as a function, and you have defense as a function. You have police, and you have your road construction. And your IT department is the construction function of your business. It's building the systems on which your business should rely. It's building your communication systems, collaboration systems, document management systems. It's building everything together so that it would just simply work. If it just works, it becomes a black box and you don't have to care about it. Now, if your IT is managing your cybersecurity, it's as if the construction workers of a country started taking care of defense and police. I don't have to tell you what kind of disaster would it be if it happened in a country. Now, why do businesses and law firms specifically allow that to happen all the time? I don't know. It doesn't work like that in the large firms where they have thousands of employees and they have a cybersecurity department, which is separate from the IT department if they're lucky, if they're smart. If cybersecurity is under IT, then we have a problem because there is a conflict of interest, which is natural between cybersecurity and IT. And if that conflict of interest is not equal, if they are not equal under the firm's management, then IT have their budget. They will give a small portion of their budget for defense, and by controlling the budget, they will always do whatever they like, and they will always choose the security solutions which they will be comfortable with. And I can assure you, if cybersecurity cannot say that this is the way, and if they cannot tell IT which is the way to protect their IT systems, and if cybersecurity is under the IT management, then you don't have IT security. It's as simple as that. And this is one of the key points that I want you to remember from this session. Cybersecurity should never, ever be under IT. Every time I've seen cybersecurity, the cybersecurity function being under IT, there was a disaster. Either it happened or it was about to happen. But I can speak about this for hours, giving examples, but I'm not going to give examples right now because I'm going to focus on some other things. Just remember, cybersecurity should never be under IT. The standard IT systems in any law firms are usually, the standard documents and collaboration systems such as Google Apps for Business or Microsoft 365. That's the standard today. And then we have the firm management systems, document management systems, filing systems, which work on top of your Microsoft stack, of your Windows 10 operating system, or even sometimes on top of the Mac operating system. But on top of your operating system, you have your Office suite, which is usually Microsoft 365 or Office. And on top of that, you have your document management systems and firm management systems. The key element here is the credentials that you use to log into your computer usually work the same to log into your email and to your document management systems and filing systems. Usually, what I've seen is that the same account works everywhere. Now, what would happen if someone was about to steal your email account's password? What would happen then? Usually, a hacker can log into your document management systems collaboration systems, and everything else using just your email password. And this is a key moment again, because if stealing your password is easy, and usually it is, then gaining access to your home firm is easy as well. How easy it is? I'm going to show you. Let's switch to a browser and let's open a website called BreachAware, and let's choose a random company, example.com, right? Oops, this doesn't work. All right, lawfirm.com. I'm just coming up with a name. As always, things don't work best when it's live. Lawfirm.com. Right, good. Their website crashed on me. You see, there are 62 compromised accounts for systems used by these firms' employees. And there are 14 breaches and 207 items leaked. If you pay a little bit of money to this website, they're gonna give you the passwords of those employees. Of course, they're gonna ask you to verify that you are an employee of lawfirm.com. But unfortunately, there are many, probably hundreds of similar websites, such as this one, where they don't ask for verification. And anyone, a 12-year-old kid, can use their parents' credit card and go and pay for access to such a website. And they can enter your domain name in it, and they can see all the passwords used by all of your employees. And I can assure you that most of your employees, most of your team, probably even you, use the same password everywhere or a small variation of it. And that is a huge problem, because hackers don't even have to hack your company. They just need to pay $10 a month, $15 a month, 20, whatever certain website charges, and they can simply enter your firm's domain name and see passwords used by your employees. One of them is guaranteed to work to log into their email and all other firm systems that I mentioned before. If this is the only thing you remember from this session, fine, but please remember that at the end, I'm going to show you how to protect from this problem. But it is a problem. There is another website, Dehashed, for example, and you search for lawfirm.com. Again, their website crashed on me. Let's wait until they check if I'm a real person. Right, let's search. Let's enter lawfirm.com. 306 results found. Now you have to log in and you have to pay for access to the passwords. They're not going to ask if I'm an employee or not. How does that happen? It's not so difficult. Right. What do people do? I'm going to share in just a few slides how does this happen. How did this website have the passwords of all those people who work at lawfirm.com? Now, how do people protect all of these systems? They usually buy a firewall and an antivirus. And they think, most IT departments think that that's enough. And remember when I said that your IT department or your outsourced IT company shouldn't manage your IT security? This is why. Because they don't have a clue about cybersecurity. It's not their job to know about cybersecurity. They should know how to build how to install your computer, how to configure it, how to make it run smoothly, how to install the server, configure it, and make it run smoothly, how to make all your systems just work. But how to defend against hackers all over the world, in Russia, in China, in Australia, in the US, in Germany. There are incredibly good German hackers. In the UK, there are hackers everywhere, and just depending on an IT department protecting from those hackers is not realistic, because the solutions they're gonna come up with are not practical. They don't work. Why do I say they don't work? Well, they didn't work for any of these companies, and all of those companies were hacked in the past 3 years. Now, these are not the only companies hacked in the past 3 years. It's just that we can fit on the screen just the ones where there were hundreds of millions of people impacted. If there were less than a million people impacted, they're not on this list. Imagine how many companies are hacked in the past 3 years. I can assure you there are hundreds of thousands. We cannot fit them on this screen. The key point to remember, every single one of those companies had an antivirus and a firewall. Every single one of them had an amazing firewall and an amazing antivirus. They didn't help them. Antiviruses and firewalls are not an effective measure against hackers. They're one of the hundreds of measures you should have, but they're not the first. They're probably somewhere at the end of the list. Let me open a browser once again, and I'm going to show you this website. It's on the website Information is Beautiful. If you Google world's biggest data breaches, you'll see it as one of the first results in Google. Now, if you look at 16 years ago, 2004, 2005, and we go to 10 years ago, you see how many breaches we had? Not that many. We had just a few breaches which hit the news. I'm sure there were much more which didn't hit the news, but the newsworthy breaches were few. And then, as we go through time, we see breaches getting larger and bigger and affecting 200 million people, 1 billion people, Yahoo customers, 160 million people. Now, and they grow and they become larger and bigger and affecting more people. The thing here is, what happens with the data? Where does it go? Well, hackers sell it. They make money. They make money from selling credit card details, personal information, usernames, and passwords. They sell access. For example, someone might sell access to a bank, or they might sell access to a law firm. And what does the hacker who is buying the access do with these credentials? It's not their problem. One hacker sells data to another, and it's a cycle that goes on and on and on. And this dark market is huge, and the databases containing usernames and passwords are freely downloadable. Some of them, their size compressed is about 21 gigabytes of pure text, compressed text data, which when you extract it, it becomes around 200 to 300 gigabytes of usernames and passwords. And it's freely downloadable without paying on a dark net or on a criminal website for a larger database. I'm talking about the freely downloadable databases which teenagers can download. So once again, there's no skill required. The only thing they need to do is download the database, see the password, search for your law firm's name in this database, and log in to your email accounts, to your document management accounts, to your Dropbox accounts, to your Google Drive accounts, OneDrive accounts, anything you can imagine. I can assure you, the passwords your employees are coming up with, they've already used them somewhere else on one of these websites. And if they used the same password on one of these websites as in your internal network's email, if they use the same password, which is usually the case, you have a problem. And you have a problem today, and you should solve this problem today. Now, let me go back to my slides. Some statistics, right? I know statistics sometimes are boring, but I can assure you, the statistics you're going to see now are not boring at all, because they are related to you one-to-one. Now, how does a breach happen? Usually, when a hacker decides to compromise a company, they can either download the database and be done in 1 hour, just downloading, extracting, searching, and using the passwords to log into your systems. Or if they can't, if they don't find your firm in this database, they will have to hack. They will have to go through the hacking process. Now, the hacking process takes about 4 weeks to research. Sometimes it may take a year of research for larger profile targets, but usually on average it takes about 4 years for the hackers to research the company, find all their IT systems, find all the weaknesses in them. Then the attack period takes about 2 weeks, and from the first moment they gain access to the lowest grade employee, it takes 1 day on average for them to gain full control over the whole company's IT systems. I'm going to repeat that again. It takes 1 day between the first compromised account to a full control over all IT systems. And I've seen breaches. I've been investigating breaches in Dubai for many years, for a few years, let's say it this way. I've been a digital forensics and incident response expert at one UAE company. When investigating breaches, I've seen some that took 5 minutes between the initial breach and full control of the company. I'll let that sink in, because it's a big problem. And usually they stay undetected between 4 months and years. So it's from 4 months to infinity and beyond. That's how long they can stay in your network undetected, while your trustworthy antivirus and your firewall to protect you from them. They don't care if you use an antivirus or not, and they don't care if you use a firewall or not. And then once you detect those hackers in your network, which usually happens due to a third party or the government telling you, listen, you've been hacked, we detected your data on a criminal forum, your data was being sold, we detected that, and we are informing you. That's how it usually happens. Or if the hackers want to make quick money, they'll encrypt your systems and you'll find out, because nothing's going to work. But that's just one case out of hundreds potential ways that they can breach a company. In just a few cases, they decide to make it known that they've compromised your network. in most cases, they stay under the radar because the data they steal and the data they can resell, that they can take from a law firm, they better stay in the network forever because it's an endless supply of data that they can sell or use for all kinds of purposes. Now, there was a large breach of a company in the US with almost 200 million people affected, and it followed the same pattern. There was a vulnerability in their network in February of 2017. So from this point, from the point of the vulnerability becoming known, the company had several months during which they could patch their systems, they could update their systems and make the vulnerability go away. They didn't. So that was, you see, once again, an antivirus and a firewall was a completely irrelevant set of measures. It wouldn't have helped Equifax. And they were breached. They were breached sometime in May 2017. The breach was detected around August. I'll let that sink in again. 200 million records were stolen. And the theft of the data of 200 million people remained undetected for months in a company which had already spent quite a lot of money on cybersecurity. They went beyond antivirus, they went beyond firewalls, of course, for sure. But they forgot the basics. They forgot that solid security architecture and solid security practices are the thing that protect you from hackers. It's not expensive commercial systems. It's not anything else. It's not something you can buy. It's not a magical box that you go to your some security vendor somewhere and tell them, listen, we have a budget for security, help us. And they're gonna sell you all the boxes they can and tell you this is a magical box and this is a magical box and here is a bunch of magical boxes. If you plug them into your network, you're gonna be secure. They are, they wash their hands because they sell you the boxes. Of course, if you read the license agreement in terms of use of each and every one of them, each and every one of them will say, we are not guaranteeing anything, you know? So the only thing that actually protects you is solid security architecture. And I'm gonna expand more on that a little bit later. Now, do you remember the DLA incident? DLA Piper? This is a photo shared on Twitter in 2017 when their breach happened. Do you know why DLA Piper completely shut down all their offices and all their networks? They weren't hacked by an advanced hacking group. They weren't hacked by an advanced hacker. They were hacked by an automated, little, very small automated program which made use of a very trivial vulnerability. As you can see here, their systems were vulnerable to a very trivial vulnerability which was incredibly easy to patch. It would take a junior system admin a couple of days to patch all their systems against the SMB version 1 vulnerability. Of course, I don't know their network. I am not their IT manager. Maybe there was a reason that they didn't patch SMB v1. I don't know. But in most companies suffering from the exact same breach, it was quite trivial to fix. And they didn't do the trivial thing. I'm sure they spent a lot of money on cybersecurity, on magical boxes, magical commercial solutions. promise them security, but the only thing that actually works is solid security architecture. Someone building defenses around and inside their IT networks, telling their IT team how to protect their IT systems. Your IT team cannot tell itself how to defend itself. It's impossible. It's not how things work. Whenever companies trust their defense to their IT team, they suffer a breach, or they are about to suffer a breach, or it's incredibly easy for a hacker to cause a breach in their network. Now, again, some statistics. According to the American Bar Association, those are the numbers. The ones in red are the important ones, but you see, those are the numbers. I'm not going to read them to you. You can see them on your screen. But think about something else for a second. Those are the ones that knew about the breach. And if we go back here, if a breach stays undetected between 4 months and infinity, or several years, then logically, most hacked law firms don't even know they've been hacked. Think about it. The statistics are just coming from the ones who answered the survey and knew about the incident. I'm not even talking about the ones who lied to make themselves feel better. The ones who knew about an incident are much less than the ones who don't know about an incident, in my experience. Of course, most law firms are concerned about a hack. They are concerned about cybersecurity. But even though most of them are being asked by their clients about cybersecurity, the only thing they can say is, yes, we are certified. Yes, we have an antivirus. Yes, we encrypt our computers. And that's it. If you are, for example, ISO 27001 certified, which is a great IT security certificate, do you think these guys weren't certified? Do you think hackers care about your certification? Because I'm going to tell you what most certifications for cybersecurity are. The auditors come and they ask for a bunch of documents. Do you have a document for this? Do you have a document for that? Do you have a document which proves that you have this, and that security measure? You say yes, and you are certified from this moment on. They're going to ask for some security controls, but those auditors are not hackers. If they were hackers, they would not be auditors. If they understood cybersecurity the way hackers understand it, and if they had morals, they wouldn't tell you you're secure. And I think many of them don't tell you you're secure. Many of them actually tell you you are certified, which is amazing because they don't guarantee that you are protected. They don't guarantee you anything except a paper, at least a paper sheet. I'm gonna just show you the statistics without reading them, but let that information sink in. I'm gonna read one of them. 81% of law firms use only passwords to access email. Do you remember a few minutes ago I showed you that it's incredibly easy to download a list of all the passwords used by all the users of all these websites? And the likelihood of your employees using the same password in your email, according to Google research, is around 60%. So 60% of your people use the same password everywhere, or a small variation of it. Do you know how dangerous this is for you today? This is my favorite slide. And it's my favorite slide. And I'm going to use a non-politically correct statement now. The original name of this slide came from a New Zealand security conference. And this image is coming from a poster from this New Zealand security conference where I took those statements from. And the original wording was hackers don't give a fuck. Or hackers don't give a shit. And it's reality. They don't care if you're certified. They don't care if it's legacy or it's too critical to patch or it's too difficult to patch. They don't care, you know? They don't care. They don't care that you are certified for ISO 27001 or any other security standard. They don't. What they care is, do you have a solid security architecture in your firm? Do you have solid architectural defenses in your firm or not? If you don't, they're going to bypass your commercial defense systems. Now, if you imagine the global number of hackers all over the world, let me move this a little bit. If you imagine that there are hundreds of thousands of hackers all over the world trying to make money, and you trust 2 IT guys or 10 IT guys or 50 IT guys to defend you from the global hacking threat, then you are in trouble. As I explained, IT departments are the construction industry of your business. They're not the defense industry of your business. You need defense. And this defense is not just about technology. It's not just about people. It's not just about processes. It's about a holistic approach towards the three of them and spending the same amount of effort in the three of them. If you buy the most expensive technology and you have the best documents and processes, but your people are not trained, you're in trouble. And the same applies to any one of them. You cannot sit on a 3-legged chair if it only has 2 or 1 leg. You will fall. So, yeah. I'm going to just list some of the elements that you have to have in your defense plan. You need solid password management. And password management is number 1 in this list because of the reasons I showed you earlier. It's incredibly easy for hackers to gain access to the passwords used in your firm. They don't have to hack. They just need to know how to click download. Teenagers can do that. Kids can do that. And teenagers do that. And kids do that. They do download those passwords. They do know about them. They do tell each other about them. They do laugh about it, how easy it is to get into a company because you just downloaded a list of passwords. And that's why password management is critical. It's the most critical element of your defenses. You have to have centralized password management where your employees create their passwords, manage them, store them, where you can track password usage, where you can check password complexity, where you can check and compare passwords of breached databases to the passwords used in your law firm, where you can enforce that your people should not use the same passwords they use everywhere in your corporate systems. This can be enforced. Remote access is second for a reason, especially in COVID times, especially when people work from home, and they will work from home from now on and forever. This changed, this pandemic changed how we do business forever. And from 2020 onwards, people will mostly work from home. Remote access is critical. Protecting remote access is critical. If remote access in your firm happens with a password, just think about what I've already shared with you. How easy it is for people to get into your law firm systems today, knowing everything that I've already told you. And all the other elements are just follow up after managing your passwords and managing your remote access. Security awareness is critical. It's just critical. It's number 5. I ordered these by importance from my experience. And my experience, I've worked in Microsoft's security consulting team. I've traveled the world helping clients with their defenses. I've helped some of the largest banks in some areas of the world. I'm not gonna even name them, but from my experience, password management, remote access, policies and procedures that are practical and usable, short, concise, precise. Why I'm telling you this? Because you are legal professionals. you are the guys, some of you create procedures hundreds of pages long, which will never be read, never remembered, and never practiced. Please, for cybersecurity, create procedures and policies up to 3 pages long each. It doesn't have to be long, it just has to be precise and concise. And security awareness is key. Penetration testing, running simulated attacks against your company is key. Endpoint security, even though it's at number 10, I would say it should be one of your first priorities as well. And of course, if you have password management taken care of, then you will have email and communications defense taken care of. Now, let's go back. Let me just move myself a little. You have to learn to walk before you can run. Cyber defense is a complex matter because we have to protect you from this. It's not easy. Us cybersecurity professionals, we have to protect you from everything that anyone on our planet can come up with as cyber attack. And we have to protect you from that. It's not easy. The defense measures are not gonna be easy if you decide to apply them, but you have to learn to walk before you can run. And in this session, I'm gonna just mention the key basics that you can apply today while listening to this session. Number 1, don't buy security solutions before you learn how to use them. Before you learn to practice what this solution is selling you, learn, or your IT department has to learn, but also all the firm employees have to learn how to practice something, how to build a practice before you buy the solution which does it better, faster, and easier. That's how you should approach cybersecurity and IT, but cybersecurity, because that's what I'm talking about. And yeah, the CMMC, the US has come up with a way to categorize the maturity of your defenses. And the CMMC maturity levels start at basic cyber hygiene and end with advanced and progressive. Now, I'm going to show you basic cyber hygiene. Please don't give up protecting your firm after you see the next slide. Again, this is just the basic cyber hygiene. Why the basic is so difficult? Because you have to protect from a global cyber threat. Again, please don't give up. But these are all the elements that you need to take care of to have basic cyber hygiene. I've taken this from a commercial website. If you just Google cybersecurity maturity model certification, you will see their webpage where this image was taken from. I think it's cybersecurity maturity model certification. You just have to Google it. One of the first results is this website. I don't remember the URL right now. It's not an image that I designed, but this is too difficult. And I'm not gonna advise you to understand this slide during this session. I'm gonna just show you this concept, and I'm sure you are familiar with this concept, that 20% of your effort gives you 80% of the results. And if you want to have 80% of the results, just do the couple of things that I'm going to show you on the next slides, and you are going to be in those 80%. So pay attention. Password managers, right? KeePass. KeePass is free. KeePass is an open source program, can be used by anyone. If you are a small firm, KeePass is enough for you. Now, if you're a bigger law firm, of course, KeePass is not for larger firms. Larger firms would use commercial systems, which with much more functionalities and capabilities. But for a small firm, for individual lawyers, and for your personal life, just use KeePass. And I'm just gonna explain how it works. So you create a database with this, icon, new database. You set a password for this database, which is unique and not used anywhere else, please. This is your most important password, the one that you are protecting your database with. Then, for each entry in the database, when you create a new entry, it automatically creates a complex, unique password for you. You don't need to create any passwords once you use the password manager. You just right-click, copy username, right-click, copy password. And in my database, I have hundreds upon hundreds of entries here, and each one of them is unique. And I don't remember passwords anymore. And I don't have to. My life is easier for I've been using this program for almost 10 years now. Since it was in its very, very early versions, but I've been using this program for many years now, since it was released in its alpha versions. And I can only recommend you to use a password manager. Learn to use it, become familiar with it, become comfortable with using a password manager for your passwords. Because if you don't have unique passwords for all of your website that I mentioned earlier, if one of them gets hacked, hackers are gonna get your password, and they are gonna try this password against your corporate systems, even against your banking or your Amazon account. But we're talking about protecting law firms first. So use a password manager. Your firm has to have a password manager, centralized password manager capable of showing statistics, graphs, and preventing the use of simple to guess passwords. It's a must. Now, the next thing is to use uBlock Origin in your browser, whichever browser that is. And if you can, use zero patch. Now, zero patch for commercial uses, you have to license it. And this is the only commercial solution I'm going to tell you about now. I don't make money from recommending zero patch. I just love it. And this is a love advice. I love this program. Because if something on your computer is not patched, zero patch is going to patch it virtually until your IT department wakes up and patches your computer. uBlock Origin is an extension that you should install in your browser. And when you install this extension, just remember to go into its settings and enable filters that would make sense. If you see like online malicious URLs here or others, just enable as many filters as make sense for you. The defaults are fine. Enabling more is better. Enabling all of them will potentially slow down your browser a little bit, but it's incredibly important. It's very important that you use this extension in your browser, because browsers are a key entry point into a company, and hackers know it, and they will send you websites with exploits that exploit your browser, and uBlock Origin helps prevent that. It's not a magic pill. You have to update your browser to the latest versions, but this extension helps. Something else which helps a lot, and you should show this program to your IT department. It's called Harden Tools. Harden Tools is applicable to smaller law firms. When I say smaller, up to 20, up to 50 people, it's applicable, because your IT department can go on each computer, run it, double click, run this program, and it will protect many vulnerable applications on your machine. They just have to be very careful with disabling PowerShell and cmd.exe. Usually they can leave PowerShell and cmd unchecked. Cmd sometimes is enough, but they will know why. I mean, it's not your objective to know why, but this tool can protect smaller law firms. For larger law firms, I would recommend that they apply these settings using a policy automatically and so on. They will know how, but the things listed on this screen are the things that need to be protected in your firm's network. And I'll repeat, password management. You have to have password manager practice in your firm. uBlock Origin and zero patch on the endpoints, on the machines, on Windows machines, on Mac, Linux machines, all uBlock Origin, because zero patch wouldn't work on them. And Harden tools for Windows machines. Of course, most law firms use Windows. That's why I'm recommending this one. I don't want to go into more technical details about protecting Mac and automating the defenses of everything listed here, because it's your IT department's job to understand that. But the key points are here. Just take a note of them, write them down: password management, uBlock Origin, system hardening, and you will be in the 80% of companies who are better protected than anyone else. Now, the other 20%, the other 20%, which, you know, they are more complex to achieve. But you should start with what I've shown you on these slides. And the last part is two-factor authentication. You should have Google Authenticator and Microsoft Authenticator on your phones. They're available for Android, iPhones. I think they're even available for BlackBerry, I'm not sure. But BlackBerry, I think they stopped producing their operating system, but I think it was available before. Two-factor authentication is a must. Two-factor authentication is the only thing standing between 12-year-old girls and boys capable of downloading password lists from the internet and your email systems. The only thing standing between the hackers' databases containing all the passwords used by your employees in the past 10 years and your email systems and your law firm management systems, the only thing standing between them is two-factor authentication. So if you don't protect your email access, your law firm management systems with two-factor authentication, you should run to your IT department and make them protect your firm systems with two-factor authentication today. Because of everything that I've shown you already, just do it as soon as possible. I beg you, do it as soon as possible. It's for your own good. And with that, you can download my book for free. It's 220 pages. In a PDF, it's a little bit less, but download it and use it. This is the only book in the world which is full with technical, practical, applicable advice that you can take and implement without buying it, without buying commercial solutions, without buying magic boxes. If you follow all advice given in this book from page 1 to the last page, you will be as protected as a bank. Your customers will be safe. And you don't have to buy anything. And that's what I want to leave you with today. Solid security architecture always wins. And I've given you the keys to protect your castle, to build your fortress. It's up to you to start using them. Thank you for listening, and thank you for viewing my session today.